One of the things we often say at ACC is that crony capitalism is the default system of governance for human beings. There is no way around it. This is as true as death and taxes. Crony capitalism has probably been with us from the days of Hammurabi, and likely long before that. No doubt, in ancient Egypt there were courtesans lobbying the pharaoh for state-sponsored projects, canals, roads, pyramids, whatever. Private interests and government have always mixed, and after studying crony capitalism closely for almost a decade and a half, we can say that it likely will always mix. Crony capitalism should be fought, however, even still. Just because it is the default setting doesn't mean we should just throw up our hands and accept that everything will be crony. Though the tendency for society is toward crony capitalism, it can be better or worse. Crony capitalism can be reduced even if it can't be totally eliminated. Being against crony capitalism is a disposition, a commitment to honest business and general human flourishing outside of the coercive power of a crony capitalist system. We believe that markets provide the most value when they are free to operate free of crony influence. Over the years we have been particularly critical of the Democratic Party as it morphed into an explicitly crony party. With the coming of Obama administration and its partnerships in the wake of the 2008 crash, in media, in banking, in autos, in energy, you name it, its full-on embrace of corporations as vehicles for social engineering, woke culture, pushed hard by policymakers, the targeting of legal industries by government through Eric Holder's Operation Choke Point, and a myriad of other measures, the American economic landscape became even more crony than it was, and it was already very crony prior to Obama. This brings us to Trump. Trump fit the avatar of an evil business dude. For many of our left-of-center readers, he was brash. He liked to put gold trim on everything, almost Scrooge McDuck style. He was arrogant. He did not play by the established political rules. Surely Trump was a crony to the max, and in many respects he was/is. But as Dave Chapelle pointed out in his now famous Saturday Night Live monologue, Trump admitted as much. I'd argue, however, that in his first term Trump was significantly less crony than Obama, or Bush, or Clinton, largely because he was attacked nonstop by the club. The cronies on the inside saw Trump as a threat. As such, Trump was handcuffed in many respects. He could only be but so crony because at every turn he was stymied. This is no longer the case. We have argued in this space and continue to argue that Trump is something new. He is an amalgam of conservative, liberal, in the modern sense, and even libertarian tendencies. He is a populist and a nationalist, to be sure. He is also not afraid of crony capitalism, or perhaps more accurately, he is not afraid of using the state to pursue his political and economic goals. He sees the state as a means to his ends, and after all he has gone through, he's going to pursue his ends while he can. Going back to the earliest days of political Trump, we argued that he was far too enamored with infrastructure. Now that Trump is unleashed, we are seeing what this means. Consider what Trump has called the golden share in the Nippon Steel purchase of U.S. Steel. Though the government doesn't have an actual stake, as in shares of U.S. or Nippon Steel, it does have huge influence over how the deal is done.
On the day it was signed, a White House spokesperson said it will safeguard U.S. national and economic security. The deal stipulates all kinds of things. Nippon cannot change U.S. Steel's name. Nippon must invest billions of dollars updating mills. No factory can close, no salaries reduced without President Trump's approval. And the agreement actually includes his name.
No factory can close without Trump's approval? Okay. That seems a bit heavy-handed.
And when we asked the White House why they call it a golden share, they said the Golden National Security Agreement outlining certain provisions and stipulations governing Nippon Steel's acquisition of U.S. Steel didn't really have the same ring to it, nor did, quote, metallic gray share. Either way, it's the U.S. government getting a big say in the C-suite.
The idea is that the steel industry is of national security concern to the United States, and if the company is going to be sold to a Japanese firm, the U.S. government should have a say in how the deal goes down, and how it is carried out. We can see the logic in it. The steel industry is of vital importance to the United States. It wouldn't be good if we just lost all capacity over time to produce steel domestically. This would constitute a significant security risk to the country. Additionally, it's not like this doesn't have some precedent. Weapons manufacturers have to have their deals approved by the government. There are other industries subject to security reviews and regulations, no doubt with crony deals embedded in the regs. Let's just say that we aren't terribly comfortable with the deal, though we can see, as we have said, the logic in it. The recently announced Intel deal, with the government taking a 10% stake in the chip company, makes us even less comfortable. And we aren't the only ones.
Fox Business's Larry Kudlow expressed concern on Friday over the Trump administration's move to take a 10% stake in mega chipmaker Intel. "I am very, very uncomfortable with that idea. I'm very uncomfortable with that one, but that's a conversation for another meal on another day," Kudlow told economist Stephen Moore, in an interview highlighted by Mediaite. Moore, earlier in the appearance, also criticized the administration's decision, calling it terrible. "I hate corporate welfare. That's privatization in reverse. We want the government to divest of assets, not buy assets. So terrible, one of the bad ideas that's come out of this White House," Moore told Kudlow, who served under President Trump as the director of the National Economic Council during his first term.
"We hate corporate welfare too, and that is what this looks like. Intel will be from here on out too big to fail. Good old TBTF. The idea behind the Intel deal is similar to the Nippon/US Steel deal. If we lose the capacity to manufacture chips in the US, and we assume that the 10% stake share in the Intel will assure that we keep such a capacity, then in Trump's eyes this is a price worth paying." An old colleague of ours, Kevin Hassett, White House economic advisor, and someone we respect, had this official take.
"Well, I think this is a very, very special circumstance because of the massive amount of CHIPS Act spending that was coming in, but the president has made it clear all the way back to the campaign, he thinks that in the end, it would be great if the US could start to build up a sovereign wealth fund. So I'm sure that at some point there'll be more transactions, if not in this industry then other industries."
So more deals like this are on the way. The government will be taking stakes in large pieces of American industry? The next deal might actually be in defense. Lockheed is apparently in the administration's sights.
The Trump administration is thinking about taking an equity stake in defense and munitions companies, according to Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. "There's a monstrous discussion about defense," he said Tuesday in an interview with CNBC's Squawk Box when asked if there's a line on government ownership of private companies. "I mean, Lockheed Martin makes 97% of their revenue from the U.S. government. They are basically an arm of the U.S. government."
Senator Rand Paul has this to say.
"If conservatives endorse this now, they hand Democrats a blueprint to expand government ownership over the private sector later. Socialism is literally government control of the means of production."
He is exactly correct. It's bad enough that Trump is doing it. Imaging what a President Sanders, or someone similar, would try to do. We guess we should just forget about Amtrak being privatized.